Let's start with you, Joey. Say and spell your name.
I'm Joey McCormick, JoeyMcCormick.
Now just say, I'm Joey McCormick, and
I'm Joey McCormick, and I'm a stand-up comedian.
Okay, well, say the directions again.
say and spell your name.
George Anthony, GeorgeAnthony. I'm George Anthony, and I'm a comedian.
Raul Sanchez, RaulSanchez. My name is Raul Sanchez, and I'm a stand-up comedian.
Very good, guys. Now look at me. Ignore the camera. Ignore them. Okay?
You know you guys can spell, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Pass the first test. So, everything that I hear, comedy comes from angst. Comedy comes from sadness. Funny people are really sad on the inside. How true is that, Joey?
I think it's the rift between comfort and discomfort. Kind of that moment where you have to find peace in the things you don't have control over, and I think.
Interesting. So it's a control thing. So if you're in a situation that you don't have control over and it happens to be bad, then you can turn it around and make it funny?
I have so little control over my own life. I have so little control over what goes on in my life. I get to choose what I eat and what I joke about. Yeah, and that's,
And do you use that? I mean, what's your process for coming up with what's funny?
I treat it like a spark. When it hits me, write it down so you don't lose it, and then give it a try. I think that usually if I think something's funny, I think that I can convince other people.
But let's say you use the joke on stage and it doesn't work. Do you go back to it and reuse it, or how does that work for you?
There's an old George Carlin quote that I really like, and it's just because you didn't get a laugh or it's not successful right now doesn't mean that it's a bad joke. It just means that you weren't ready. You're not a good enough comic to tell it yet. And so sometimes you do. For me, yeah, I'll put something on the shelf for 2 years, and then you look back on it and go, oh, wow, yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Because it means something to you and matters to you, and you can tell it better?
Well, now you have a new perspective, too. You have 2 years of wisdom and 2 years of comedic experience to maybe try to find a different beat on what makes the joke great.
And George, how about yourself? How do you come up with your stuff?
Well, I just look at it's very observational, right? And some would say controversial. I have a daughter, that's just enough for me, right? And the world is crazy enough, and I like making fun of the world, so it's endless, right? Taking something that's everybody seems to be the norm, and how do we come to that? Everything's funny to me. Sad, happy, anything can be made funny. So. And
so I wonder about that, because I think it's like with artists, when they look at something, they can picture visually what's going to go on paper or sculpt or whatever. Is it the same way with a comedian? Because are you always thinking funny? Do you have thought balloons about you?
It's a curse, yeah.
It's like the disease and the cure.
Yeah.
It's like the ability to always have to tell a joke, but then your jokes kind of get you in trouble.
There's no real need for it, There's no real need for art. I don't want to be rude, but there's no real, art is a rich man's novelty and a poor man's outlet, right? That's the way I feel. So there's no real need for it. So it's to have that flimsy thing you do. It's just like Joey said, like that control is what you're really searching for. And when I'm on stage, that's what I get out of it, I guess. I don't know.
And so you have a full-time job. I mean, you have a day job that's a serious job.
Yeah.
But
yes.
But in your head, you just want to be a comic.
Yes, yeah, in my head and in the physical world too. I want to be a comic. It's to get paid to tell everybody what I think, and if it's funny, it has to be funny, obviously, if you want to do that. But yeah, it's I'm just a good person. I want to make people laugh.
I think but that's it is service, comedy service. At the end of the day, you're just these people file into a room, and at the end of it, your job is to make their day better.
It's a line of self-serving, because I think every artist is kind of self-serving. You have to have some kind of integrity, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a fine line of self-serving and then making sure you get with art. okay, this art, I painted this. Hey, look at that. Isn't that great? And everybody says it's garbage, but one person who has a lot of money is like, no, I like that. Oh, he's amazing now. You know, it's just, I hate that because the comedy isn't like that. I don't think, you know.
Comedy's a more collective funny.
It's
is that what
a-
you're saying?
It's a yes or no, you know. There's no abstract, you know. There's no, you can't. Well, that joke you did about babies, I really like the way I drew. Like, no, you know. I don't know.
An astute observation.
It's the only art form I think where it's like we're getting reactions right then and there, you know, as far as laughter or like a you know, a gasp type thing, and it's up to the comic to know what he's going for, you know.
And so, Mr. Raoul, now you told me a minute ago that you think of your jokes that you're going to tell when you write them down, but you think ahead of time, right? It's
Yeah.
not a situational thing with you.
No, well, I mean, as far as like the process of writing, I have to think of what I'm gonna say ahead of time, and I have to sit down with a notepad and write ideas, certain phrases that I think are funny on the idea, and then I have to stand up and then work them through in my head how I would say them, because certain jokes are like fundamentally sound, where I could tell it to you just in a regular voice, and some jokes have to be sold to the audience. I mean, I have to be animated, or my voice has to go at a certain pitch, or you know, I have to sell the joke to them. And if I just told it to you, you'd be like, it's not funny. And I'll go, oh, you gotta be there to see me perform it.
Right.
So are you practicing that animation before you're actually delivering the joke? Or are you practicing
No,
it?
I think it. I think it. Like, it's not really like animation as like I start, you know, tap dancing. You know, it's more like if I'm standing there and I'm saying, and so I was holding this picture, you know, I would. Do I have to go like I was holding this picture, or do I just say it and paint it with my words?
So it's inflection a lot of it in your voice and in your tone?
Certain kinds you can just stand in front of the mic and just say them, and they'll get a reaction because they're fundamentally strong. It's
Like 2 + 2 = 4.
yes, like,
And everybody understands why it equals 4.
So do you, in practicing and delivering this material, because I think about bands that tour for years and years and play the same songs over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get tired of your own stuff? Is it better for you to practice
Yeah,
it?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, both of them, or?
Yeah, I've recorded an album that was 50 minutes long, but I don't use that material anymore because you get tired of saying it, and if you recite it, you put off an energy that the audience can sense, and that your heart's not really in it. You're just reciting jokes. You're not really performing a set. You know, you're not doing an act. You're just sort of memorizing jokes and telling them, and the audience can feel it some way or another. They can feel it, and they don't react as much as the way they used to when you first were excited about the jokes, telling them, and you had this sort of spark when you inside of you when you would say it. So sometimes you just turn over the material, record it, and then you move on. It's time to start all over so that you don't get stale.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, with this energy thing, because it's always a two-way thing in communication, receiving and sending, you're emitting energy to the audience and you're feeling that energy back. What does that process feel like, George?
Exhilarating, yes, and awful. It's scary, you know, because you don't know. You've done a joke enough to know that okay, it should be an applause break or something should happen, right? A positive reaction should happen, but they might be an off night. Someone might have had a grumpy babysitter that's calling them to come home, and they're just like, all right, come on, let's just get through this. And you're being goofy, hey, pigeons or whatever, you know, and it's like walking a tightrope, you know, and there's no safety net. If you bomb that night, which is failure, bombing is failure. right? That means you don't do well on stage. It's you go home with that and you just you suck it up, you know.
I just can't imagine anything being more uncomfortable because I can just foresee like flop, sweat dreams and all that kind of stuff. You know, as a newsreader, I used to dream that I'd be on camera and I didn't have a script in front of me, for example.
Yeah.
And you panic. So, how do you respond to the energy from the audience, and how much of an impact does it have on you if it's not being received well?
Oh man, I think it is. It's like it's back to what we talked about previous, where it's your drug, and it's the cure, where you have these expectations for yourself, or you have an expectation for a show, and then if all of those expectations are met and all the stars align, then yes, we did good comedy tonight, guys, good comedy. And if not, all right, tomorrow, next day.
How long does the high last once you get off stage? If you have a really good night, Raul, how long are you high after that?
Like a good,
Metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, baby.
like a good 30 minutes. It's you feel pretty pretty high. I always go smoke a cigarette afterwards and think of how it went, whether it went well or not.
It lasts way longer when it's bad. When
Oh,
it's,
yeah,
when it's a
yeah,
bad
that-
show, that might last.
long. Well, especially when you first starting out. When I first started out, like if I failed, if I bombed, it would last an entire week where I would just feel devastated for a whole week. But now, as you start looking at it as a job, I have to create new material. So I have to go on stage with new material that's unproven, and 50% of my stuff, at least 50%, is bombs because I'm trying to build new material. So if I already know something works, I'm not gonna go to an open mic and then try to pull out the big guns and then try to make myself feel good, because part of my job is to build a different material. So if same people see me again, they don't see the same act. So consequently, I end up bombing a lot. But now I feel like I'm getting better at going like, all right, it's just your job. You sucked tonight because it was all new material. Move on, either rework whatever you think has legs, and throw away what you think was just stupid and you were lying to yourself. It wasn't funny.
But like in anything in art, somebody creating a painting or a sculpture in their studio, mostly they're by themselves unless they're collaborating. You're actually creating in front of a lot of people. So how do you do that?
It's
That's just funny people being funny people. I think some people got it, right? I mean,
I don't do that. I don't create in front of the audience. I have to write everything beforehand.
Yeah, and then he takes
goes
the
up with
material.
an idea and he makes it happen and reacts to how the crowd is reacting and feeds off of it. I
So
can't
you
do
riff on
that.
something, you got an idea and you just sort of riff on that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Yeah, actually, that's perfect. Actually, I'll have a couple of ideas that I want to work on, and I go up and I let my mouth do the rest, and if they don't like it, then all right, well, I didn't work that hard anyway. And no, I still feel the sting of it, but I'm like, all right, I gotta go to rework it. I don't actually physically write anything down anymore.
do y'all record every single?
No, I don't record.
You don't record. You don't
It'd
record.
be a bunch of just recording,
I record
terrible recording.
every single record. I record every single thing.
And why do you do that, Joey?
So yeah, to hear I don't know, it's like game film. You have to figure out where it went wrong or figure out where it went right. I think you're trying to each joke is like lightning in a bottle. You want every laughter to be like a explosion. So you kind of have to. I couldn't do it, and then also I can't remember. I can't hold all that in my brain. So I have to. I have to record
The
it.
thing with me, as far as like memory, if I can't remember it obviously wasn't that great.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
Well, and that's why I go outside after a set, whether it went well or not. I go outside and smoke a cigarette because I'm trying to think of how I said something, and if it didn't get a laugh, I think why didn't it? And if it did, I was like, all right, that joke is new. Why? I wonder why it did well and how I could also improve on it. So that I don't record my set, but I do go immediately after the set outside and pace around and think about it for like the next 15-20 minutes, and then
It's like
and then I go.
It's like what the funny is, and then it's like then you have to figure out why it's funny.
Sure.
You kind of deconstruct it that way.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so
Figure
how
out.
does it change over the years? Because things that were funny, 20 years ago are not funny now. So how has it changed for you guys, and how do you adapt to that process?
You don't. No, I don't know. You just find your audience, I guess. Yeah, you can't.
And there's so much media now. It seems like 30 years ago, you wanted to conquer the mainstream media, and that was maybe not easier to do, but there were less outlets, there were less media avenues. So now it's almost like you don't need the whole market. Maybe get your little 7%. Maybe that's enough for you,
Well,
or
obviously
whatever it is.
You can't tell. Like topical humor, I think is the big thing that changes from day to day. So that as far as like 20 years ago to now, like there's some great Texas comics such as like Bill Hicks that he said a joke how many years ago, Ro? Like 20, but it still holds up to this day because it wasn't about topical humor. It was just a funny thing to
That
say to
everybody
somebody.
understands
Yeah,
and
yeah.
relates to. So, random question: how irritated do you get at these silly sitcoms with the laugh tracks in the background, and the jokes aren't funny?
Ugh. That seems like a loaded question, I think, because it's funny to someone. They wouldn't make so much of this crap if it wasn't funny to someone.
It wouldn't be out there making money.
Which show are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the laugh track thing, I mean,
Oh.
and why do people need that? I mean, you guys need the laughs from the audience, but why would people need to be coached on whether or not something is funny?
I think it's contagious, right? I mean, I just think laughter, at the end of the day, it's contagious. So it is kind of like a handicap to put a laugh track. It would make me sick, right? I mean, it would make me sick.
I've seen a couple of shows. I actually don't mind the laugh tracks. The ones that don't have laugh tracks, it's like I'm like, oh, ha 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 ha,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really watch TV that much to, I guess, have an opinion about it.
So
Yeah, I
you
really.
got, I'm sorry, Ralph.
I don't watch sitcoms really that much anymore. But like if I see them with the ones with the laugh track, for the most part, they are kind of like they're kind of I don't know the word.
Corny?
Kind of corny.
Yeah.
But I also look at it like some of those people, they might have felt the same way that I did, and then somebody showed them a paycheck, and they were like, "Corny it is."
Let's do it.
Well, I can
Yeah,
do
once you
crazy.
see like a lot of zeros on a check, you probably go like, "Yeah, this isn't that bad." This is laugh track, yeah.
It's also who's consuming it too. Like I'm 30, with no kids, and I live at home. You know what I mean? So like maybe the things that I think are funny, a 50-year-old with, a family and a big house, and maybe we'll never meet.
Not going to laugh at that. So I look at comedy. One of the reasons we're doing this story is I look at it just like a great sculptor or a great painter or someone who works with their hands and creates something in a gallery. You guys are doing the same thing. You're artists at heart. What kind of emotional process is that for you? To create, to deliver, to Monday morning quarterback, to change?
It's satisfying, yeah, to strip something away. The whole thing with at least the three of us, is honesty. The more honesty you have in something, the more people are going to be able to relate to it, and to even like respect it, and to see your point of view on it. So stripping away something that's corny, or you see on the news and the president or whoever, and you strip away what he's really talking about. Like, oh my God, we might go to war, But on the surface, he's playing it up like, you better stop talking mess to us on a tweet. Like he's doing this on a tweet, but the World War III's at stake, I'm driving. I still gotta drive to work, but it's like it's stripping away like the nonsense and getting really to the core of something. I think it's very satisfying. It's very like that's the passion I think that drives me to keep doing this.
And so let's face it. I mean, you got Rocket Man and Dotard going around right
What-
now.
yeah.
How do you beat that? It's
Yeah, and these are like world leaders, and it's like my daughter says Dotar or whatever. I don't know. She's 7, and it's like what is it all coming to? It's hilarious. That's all you can do is laugh. Are you gonna worry yourself to death? You're gonna cry and stay up late at night.
And that's a great point, George, because right now I hear people, particularly in my age group, saying the world is a bloody mess. I mean, you've got earthquakes, you've got fires, you've got these hurricanes, you've got,
Yeah.
the guy over there in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get past that to really kind of bring the levity out? How do you make those things funny?
I've learned that a lot of my stronger jokes are written because it's something that either made me mad or made me sad, and it's like if I can make it funny, it makes me feel better about it. So if
And in turn, you make other people feel better about it. you know?
yeah, because first of all, it's making me feel good because I'm deconstructing something that's bothering me. So if this thing right here makes me mad, I take it in front of the audience and I turn it on its head and go, this is stupid and this is why. And if I can get them to laugh, it feels like they're agreeing with me on some level. And if I feel better about it, and they get to laugh.
Because you feel like if you think it's stupid or whatever you think it is,
Mhm.
that, you know, likely there's 100 or 1,000 other people with the same thing in mind.
Sure, and I have verification by their laughter and the energy, the immediate energy of receiving a laughter of a lot of people laughing in unison. You could feel it in your chest when it happens, and it makes you feel great about it.
Yeah.
That's a great comment. So very quickly around the table here, I just want to ask you a quick question with a real quick answer. How do you handle hecklers?
Destroy them
Okay,
where they stand.
George.
How do I handle hecklers?
Mhm.
Very rude. Not good. Not well.
What do you do, George?
What do? I acknowledge their existence for a second to give them the attention that they want, and then I move on with the show. And then if they can't, if they hold on, I blame the audience for hecklers. Honestly, it's if the audience doesn't tell them to shut up, then it's like, hey, I can do nothing for you. The show's ruined, and I'm gonna drive this bus, and I'll crash the bus. We're all gonna die. Let's end the whole show then, because you guys won't tell this guy to shut up.
Ralph?
I try to talk louder into the microphone, and then if it keeps going, then I have to address it, and very seldom do I have to. Usually that works, just me talking louder or addressing them, going, right, sir, right, and then they kind of like, oh, I was talking, but if it keeps going, then yeah, it could get pretty ugly, and then it's I can be very mean.
And the flip side of that, has anybody in the audience, that's laughed out loud really cracked you up during a set where you just like really couldn't hold it?
Oh,
You
yeah,
were
definitely.
Totally laughing.
Yeah, someone spit food out, and they spit drink and stuff out, and I just like, oh, that's the best. That's the best to have
It
someone.
cracked you up.
It cracked me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, because that's like the goal, is to kill somebody at a show. They choke, and it almost happened. The lady but she spit out the food out, and I was like, oh, and it cracked me up. I was like, man, we could have had an ambulance here, ruined the
George,
show.
that's mean. Joey?
Very mean. Yeah.
I think like one time I felt defeated by a guy because just in my act, I just talked to him a little bit, and he wouldn't talk to me, but he just held up a shot, and I go, yeah, okay, sure, I'll take, because he put me on the spot, I'll take a shot with you, and it's just warm tequila. So just in front of this whole crowd, I'm like, and just trying not to puke on stage, and I can't even finish, I can't even tell jokes after that because I'm just trying to. And I go, did you have a shot on the table waiting for me just in case I talked to you? And he goes, yeah, I did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Raul, how about you? Has anybody cracked you up while you've been up there?
No.
No, I hate everybody.
I don't find people funny.
You cracked us up with your answer,
Yeah.
which is the next question. Do you guys crack each other up?
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think George is one of the funniest people the funniest person I've ever met, and all our friends, because we know
It's
each
on the
other.
record.
It has to it has to do with them being comedians, but also we know each other, so we also know how to push each other's buttons, and it's when we're mean to each other, it's like the funniest thing in the world to me.
Is it the kind of thing where you really want to make these two laugh because you guys are good buddies and getting a laugh out of them really means something?
Well, I
I
think
think
it
that's
comes
part of it.
naturally. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if I don't know like, I don't sit there and going like, I gotta try to make these guys laugh.
Yeah.
But we say stupid things naturally and mean things that they're always hilarious.
It's imagine you could say anything you want to somebody, anything at all, no matter how grotesque or how amazing it is, and they're not going to be like,
It's
you know?
pure. It's pure empathy. It's like you don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain anything
Yeah.
to any. You just get it.
And you said, Julie, earlier that you grew up in a household full of women, and you're a born people pleaser. So it's fun for you to make people laugh.
Well, I think it's. I think it's every customer service job ever. I think it's pathetic in a lot of ways, but yeah, I think that's where I feel comfortable is making people. Are you happy? Are you guys happy? So I can be happy. Is everyone good? So I can be. And so it is just people pleasing that I do, and I am. I'm happy when people are happy and laughing. So comedy makes sense to me.
So, two-part question here. Do you consider yourself to be a true artist? And if you were not a comic, what else would you do? Or is it innate, you have to do it?
Yeah, I'm up the river. I think I don't know if I can speak for you guys, but I'm sold. I'm gonna do it till I die, and if I have to wait tables and do comedy until I die, then whatever. I mean, at least comedy gives me a sense of purpose, which not a lot of people have. You know, they work their dumb job and wonder why they're here, and at least I feel like even for myself, I'm confronting that on stage. Why am I here? Why are we here? Why does any of this matter? Why should we care? And so, to me,
Jeez, man.
I'm stuck.
Deep,
You all right? You
George.
good? You all right?
Back to you, back to your riff.
I just like it. Wait, what was the question again? I'm lost in
Do
Joey's.
you consider yourself an artist?
Oh,
And
yes.
If you weren't a comedian, could you be something else, or you have to be a comic?
No, I think I would have to be a comic. I mean, I don't have confidence to, paint or anything like that, I guess. It's just fun to force your perspective on people, unsuspecting people, and I'm very passionate about it. I like the process. I like the reactions. I like the bad react. I like everything about it, the whole complete thing, so.
Rel?
As far as like considering myself an artist, I think it. No, not in the same way like of like a painter and a singer. I think comedy has its own category of art. I think it can be an art form, but also it's you're talking about the stupidest things sometimes just to get people to laugh. So I don't know. I feel like it's in this weird in between spot as far as art, considering it art.
And did you know from an early age that you wanted to be funny and be on stage?
No, no, I never did. I don't think I remember ever thinking of wanting to be a stand-up comic. But I think it's the I couldn't do anything else because the only other experience I've had of working is I was in the Army for 4 years, and when I got out, I couldn't do anything else.
So sorry.
I know how to use a gun. I know how to use machine guns, but I don't. And even that's fading away. So the more time that goes by, the less I know more about that one thing that I used to know a lot about. And now this is slowly becoming the only thing that I care about and that I know about. I couldn't imagine myself picking up another thing and trying to get good at it because I've gone too far. It's been 7 years. It's like I either keep going forward or not, or
Okay.
pass out and die again.
And George, you said something interesting. You said, I can't paint, so I do this. So I guess that you are saying that you are an artist. And when did you know? Were you little?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
a child. Yeah, I always wanted to do something. Yeah, me and my brother used to write comic books, and the whole writing process was great. He was an artist, so he could draw. But yeah, it's to me it is an art form, and I say that for two reasons. One, because I believe it, and two, to piss off anybody that doesn't think it's an art form. Because everything else you have to have like natural talent, right? Like you have to have your symmetrical. You have to have the vision of it when you're doing actual pieces or sculptures and stuff. Singers, that's a natural talent. They can't help it but sing well, And with this thing, I think it's the same thing. You can't help but just be funny. You can't help it. It's a thing that you just have, right? Guys
But
agree?
it's also
Agree
like-
with me now.
But it's also like when you said like like a sculptor, when you compare it to like a sculptor and you step away. But I imagine a comedian being a sculptor, he's chipping away, and then eventually 20 hours later he stands back and it's like his genitals that he's sculpting. He's like, it's done.
So it's gonna be funny one way or the other, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm
exactly.
saying, yeah, it's gonna be funny. Like it is a sculpture. It looks like what it's supposed to look like, but at the end of the day, it's
Hey, how many
nonsense.
How many hours did that take you? Hundreds of hours to do this sculpture. Totally worth it.
All right, guys, I'm done. You want them sort of talking amongst
Yeah, just talk
themselves,
amongst
or,
yourselves.
yeah, so I'm gonna step out.
Well, I thought you did the best, second best, third best, I think, in the interview.
All right. You know what the hilarious thing is though? Bob is still waiting on. You know how awesome that is. It's gonna be like, I'm not coming.
You know what's funny? Like I think I may have passed him.
Oh
like,
yeah.
on the way here.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
Look at this jerk.
And he knows your car too. Oh man.
And I did see him, but I went like this.
You know, it'd been better if you were like just laughing at something you heard.
Oh no!
But he can't tell. Like, did he see me?
I could have sworn he saw me.
No,
You're,
it's so
you're
great.
pointing at a billboard that you like a billboard you like, and you're laughing at it, so it looks like you're pointing at
I
him.
can't wait to see him to make fun of him, dude. What kind of grown man runs out of gas? I don't know. It's weird.
I almost ran out of gas actually coming here.
Running out of
Yeah,
gas
but you didn't though.
is the most irresponsible thing you can do.
Yeah.
There are so many fail safes.
Is his gauge broken? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Gauge broken, bad fuel filter.
I didn't even stop to get gas and cigarettes because I thought I was going to be late, and
Well,
I was.
You
but-
were late. Yeah, what are you
Yeah, I
talking about?
was. Well, wait a minute. I was late for the set time, but I wasn't late for like I beat everybody else.
You're here. I mean, yeah, you made it.
Nah, you were late, dude. There's no degrees of late. Like you were late.
No,
You
no,
know?
yeah. It's what is late? Like it's the.
If you want me to hold you to the standard, I'll hold you to the standard, dude. All right? You were late.
I was late for the time, but if nobody else was here and I'm the first one, I'm actually early.